The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. I mean, picture this. A 14-year-old girl, still wearing this pink silk dress, walks alone up to the gates of a sprawling Beverly Hills mansion. She's there to hand deliver a letter.
Right.
But the heavy doors just stay shut. And, well, just like that, Hollywood had a whole new obsession. Why did Brooklyn Beckham refuse to see his own sister? Welcome to Starscope Report. We uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
Yeah, and today's mission is a really intense deep dive into the fractured dynamics of one of the world's most famous families, the Beckhams.
Right, the Beckhams.
Exactly. And we're looking at a massive stack of sources today. We've got reporting from Page 6, The Mirror, and Geo News, just to, establish the timeline of this whole feud.
Which is complicated enough on its own.
Oh, absolutely. But to actually understand the mechanics of why this is happening, we're bringing in a fascinating peer-reviewed academic study from the journal Celebrity Studies, because it literally scientifically breaks down why fame rewires families to self-destruct.
Wow. And you've likely seen the headlines and the paparazzi shots, but today we are stripping away the PR spin. We want to figure out what is really happening behind those locked gates.
Right.
And why you should care about the psychological toll of growing up inside a brand. So let's set the scene here. The precipitating event is David Beckham's induction into the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Right, a huge deal for the family.
Massive. The family shows up in full force. You've got Victoria, Romeo, Cruz, and 14-year-old Harper. And David is at the podium giving this deeply heartfelt speech.
Yeah, he is literally telling the crowd that his beautiful children are the reason he gets out of bed in the morning.
But anyone watching immediately notices this glaring hole in the front row. The eldest son, Brooklyn, and his wife, Nicola Peltz, are just completely missing.
Which, turns a massive family celebration into a transatlantic PR battleground in just the span of a few hours.
Literally hours.
Because right after that ceremony, at around 2 p.m. local time, a car pulls up to Brooklyn and Nicola's newly purchased Los Angeles mansion. And to call it a house really doesn't do it justice.
It's a compound.
It's a 10.5 million pound or 11 million, depending on the report fortress in Hollywood. 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, a home cinema, a private gym, an infinity pool. It is literally designed to keep the world out.
And stepping out of that car is Harper Beckham. She is unannounced. She is actually still wearing the pink silk dress and the little sweater from her dad's star-studded ceremony.
Just straight from the Walk of Fame.
Exactly. She walks up to the security gate to hand deliver a letter to her brother. That's it. She just wants to see him.
Right.
But she leaves moments later without ever stepping foot inside that fortress. Why? Because Brooklyn wasn't even in California.
He was in New York.
He was literally running in New York City. In fact, he made sure to post on his Instagram story for his millions of followers to see.
Yeah, and that Instagram post basically functions as a public alibi. It says, hey, I am physically untouchable right now. But the viral response to Harper's visit was just instantaneous.
Oh, it exploded.
Photos of a visibly deflated Harper standing outside those gates hit the press via Page 6. And Brooklyn's camp did not hold back at all.
They really went on the offensive.
They fiercely clapped back at the Beckhams. A spokesperson for Brooklyn issued this very pointed statement to the press saying that photographers were in place as the letter was hand-delivered. Says it all. This was choreographed for the cameras.
I have to pause here because reading that response genuinely hurts. We are talking about the sheer heartbreak of a 14-year-old girl caught in a media war.
It's awful.
It really is. I look at this and wonder, is Brooklyn's camp just being overly paranoid? Like, are they projecting their own cynical PR strategies onto a teenager? Or is it actually possible that David and Victoria intentionally orchestrated this paparazzi moment to make their own son look like a villain?
Well, look at the mechanics of how paparazzi operate in Los Angeles.
Right. They aren't just everywhere.
Exactly. They don't just happen to be lingering outside a specific gated property in a quiet Beverly Hills neighborhood at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. They get tipped off.
So you think it was a setup?
When you connect this to the broader playbook of Hollywood optics, like every single variable is calculated. Think about it. A letter can be mailed.
Or couriered, yeah.
It could be dropped off by a member of the household staff.
Yeah.
But having the youngest sister physically deliver it, having her still dressed in a ceremonial pink silk gown which visually screams innocence, and having cameras perfectly positioned to capture her, looking rejected by a heavy metal gate. In the language of celebrity PR, that is a weaponized visual. It instantly isolates Brooklyn as the cold aggressor who shut out his little sister.
But the flip side is just so dark. This is a family. I mean, it's entirely possible Harper just missed her big brother, realized she was in the same city, or thought she was, and genuinely just wanted to drop off a note to say, congratulations on the new house.
Yeah, that's the human element.
Right. To have your own brother's team reduce your olive branch to a choreographed stunt, it requires such a fundamental breakdown of human connection.
But when your entire existence is monetized, you kind of lose the luxury of assuming good intentions.
Which is terrifying.
You stop viewing actions as genuine human emotions and start viewing them as brand management. If every move you make affects a stock price or a sponsorship deal, your brain literally stops distinguishing between a family member and a competitor.
Which perfectly explains the microscopic social media move that caused Brooklyn to completely sever ties and involve the lawyers. And that's not even the wildest part. Wait till you hear what triggered the final block.
It's honestly unbelievable.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists and want to understand the psychology behind them, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive. But let's look at where this paranoia actually started.
Because Harper, standing at the gate, is really just the symptom.
Exactly. The disease started at the wedding.
Yeah, the 2022 wedding is really ground zero for this entire feud. According to the reporting, Brooklyn claimed that Victoria interrupted his first dance with Nicola and behaved, inappropriately.
Taking all the attention.
But the real tension was broadcast through the wardrobe choices. Nicola did not wear a Victoria Beckham design for the wedding.
Which is a huge statement.
Huge. Instead, she wore her mother's vintage 1985 gown.
Let's talk about the weight of that choice, right? Victoria Beckham is a globally recognized fashion designer. That is her empire.
Is her brand identity.
Exactly. For her new daughter-in-law to actively choose not just another designer, but a vintage heirloom from a rival matriarch, that is a loud structural rejection of the Beckham brand. It's basically a transfer of power from the Beckham family to the Peltz family.
And adding to that structural rejection, Nicola's father, Nelson Peltz, actually officiated the ceremony.
Wow.
So the Beckham family was completely sidelined. They were just guests at an event where they were so used to being the main characters.
Yeah, they're not used to taking a back seat.
Right. And this power struggle culminated in Brooklyn issuing a scathing public statement declaring, "I'm not being controlled, I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life."
And his version of standing up for himself was building a digital moat to match his physical one. I mean, the fallout was absolute scorched earth.
He blocked everybody.
Brooklyn blocked his entire family on social media, his parents, his brothers, everyone. And you know the trigger for the final permanent block.
This is the crazy part.
Victoria simply liked one of his posts.
Just a like.
A single, the Daily Mail reported she sent that, because she misses him every hour of every day. And Brooklyn's response to a mother's double tap on Instagram was to block the entire family and issue an edict that his parents must only contact him via lawyers.
Which brings us back to the collateral damage of Harper. The sources make it really clear she is desperate to keep the family together.
She's just caught in the middle.
Yeah, like for Valentine's Day, she posted a sweet throwback photo of her, Brooklyn, Romeo, and Cruz in a swimming pool. She tagged her brothers and wrote, "I love you all so much, words can't describe it."
But Brooklyn couldn't even see it.
Exactly.
He had blocked her, too.
Insiders claim Brooklyn actually wants to protect Harper from the feud. He supposedly still maintains a relationship with his grandparents. But a source told the Mirror that the fundamental logistics of his little sister living under the exact same roof as David and Victoria makes contact almost impossible.
It's just a tragic situation.
He cannot reach out to Harper without breaching the wall he's built against his parents.
I have a massive problem with Brooklyn's strategy here, though. If Brooklyn and Nicola truly just want peace, privacy, and happiness, which is what they explicitly claim in all their press statements, why wage this war so publicly?
$30 billion question.
Why is this happening on Instagram? Doesn't responding to a mother's, with an absolute highly publicized block just feed the exact media narrative they claim to hate? It feels like they're screaming, "Look at how much I'm ignoring you."
It creates a massive contradiction, for sure. He skips his dad's 50th birthday. He skips the Walk of Fame milestone.
Right.
He does this to distance himself from the Beckham media circus. Yet, by being so glaringly absent, he generates far more press than if he had just quietly shown up and sat in the back row.
Exactly.
By blocking them and communicating through lawyers, he isn't achieving privacy. He's just creating a different, much louder headline.
It makes no logical sense until you realize that standard human logic doesn't apply to people who live inside a trademark. Which brings us to the science of the snub.
The actual psychology behind it.
Yes. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because we are about to explain why famous families might actually be biologically and socially wired to self-destruct.
So, to understand the actual mechanics of this feud, we have to put down the tabloids and look at a peer-reviewed study from the journal Celebrity Studies.
Let's get into the science.
It was authored by researchers Katerina Kako and Pekka Isodelis.
Mm.
They conducted deep interviews with commercial music artists to map out the interpersonal dynamics of fame.
Okay.
And they did this using a psychological framework called relational dialectics theory.
Relational dialectics theory. I mean, I need to understand how this works in a normal person's life before we apply it to someone who lives in a 10.5 million pound Hollywood compound.
Well, think about your own family dynamics. If you have a sibling, you likely feel a pull to be close to them, right? To share your life with them.
Sure, yeah.
But at the exact same time, you feel a pull to be independent, to have your own separate identity that has nothing to do with them.
Right, you don't want to just be known as someone's brother or sister.
Exactly. That push and pull between connectedness and separateness, or between openness and privacy, is a normal relational dialectic. Everyone experiences it.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the study found that for highly famous people, those normal tensions are completely warped by the pressure of public perception.
So you take that normal sibling annoyance and multiply it by $1 billion and 100 million Instagram followers.
That is exactly the mechanism the researchers found. In fact, the dominant discourse among the celebrities interviewed is that fame is harmful for relationships, which the study labels FHR.
FHR.
It actively destroys your ability to connect with the people who knew you before you were famous.
How does that actually manifest, though? What is the fame doing to the relationship?
The study identifies the creation of a dominating celebrity persona. Think of it like wearing a giant mascot costume 24 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
Eventually, the public is only interacting with the mascot. The media is only writing about the mascot.
And the person inside gets lost.
Right. Over time, even your own mother isn't talking to you. She's talking to the mascot. You start wondering if anyone even remembers the person inside the suit.
That sounds so isolating.
It creates this intense tension between authenticity and inauthenticity. It breeds what the researchers call increased mistrust and social and emotional distance.
Yeah.
Celebrities start to view every interaction through a lens of suspicion. Like, are you approaching me because you love me or because you want access to my celebrity capital?
Wow, let's apply that directly to Brooklyn. He stated publicly that he grew up with overwhelming anxiety because his entire life, his parents were controlling narratives in the press.
He was literally raised inside the brand.
He was a supporting character in the David and Victoria mascot routine. And he explicitly said that stepping away from his family allowed his anxiety to disappear because he was no longer being controlled.
Yeah.
So, under this academic theory, Brooklyn blocking his family is him choosing what he sees as authenticity with Nicola over the inauthenticity of the Beckham PR machine.
This study specifically talks about the privilege of separateness over connectedness and closedness over openness when dealing with a dominating celebrity persona.
Though he's just choosing extreme separateness.
Exactly. Brooklyn feels he has to build that digital moat and communicate only through lawyers to protect his authentic self from the brand management of his parents. The mistrust is so deep that a simple Instagram like is perceived as an infiltration of his boundaries by a rival brand.
But this is where the theory clashes with reality, right? And where I have to call out the absolute hypocrisy of the situation. Is Brooklyn actually achieving authenticity?
Wow.
Because from the outside, he isn't stepping away from the mascot costume. He's just putting on a different one.
That's a fair point.
He is swapping the Beckham brand for the Peltz Beckham brand. He bought a 10.5 million pound Hollywood mansion that screams luxury to live his life as a social media influencer. He is posting Instagram stories of his running routes in New York City as a calculated alibi while his family is at a media event. None of that screams stepping out of the spotlight to find quiet, authentic peace.
It looks like massive hypocrisy from the outside, absolutely. But Kaiko and Isodelis' research suggests it's actually a survival mechanism based on asymmetrical power dynamics.
The asymmetrical power dynamic.
Yeah. When an individual's public image becomes their primary currency and they feel overpowered by the massive celebrity of their parents, Their only defense mechanism is to establish a rival power structure.
So he has to build an empire to fight an empire.
Precisely. He isn't running from fame. He's running from being a subordinate in his parents' fame. He needs his own massive fortress and his own brand to feel like he has equal footing.
Which brings us right back to the tragedy of the 14-year-old girl at the gate. The academic theory of asymmetrical power dynamics manifests in real life as a little sister who just wants to see her brother.
It's heartbreaking.
But because of the mistrust generated by the dominating celebrity personas, she is treated by his representatives as a PR operative, delivering a choreographed stunt.
It's a closed loop. The research shows that fame generates a cycle where the authentic self subsides, mistrust increases, and self-disclosure decreases. You stop being able to be vulnerable.
You can't just be human.
Brooklyn can't just be a brother to Harper anymore. His brain has been rewired by fame. He is a celebrity protecting his borders from a rival celebrity faction, which just happens to be his parents.
It is deeply ironic. Brooklyn claims his parents are endlessly trying to ruin his relationship with Nicola, but his new lifestyle and his obsession with protecting this new brand has effectively ruined his relationship with his little sister.
Right.
The very thing he claims to be running from media manipulation, controlling narratives, and PR games is exactly what his own team is doing by releasing statements to Page 6 accusing a teenager of orchestrating a photo op.
Think about this as you look at any famous family. When an entire family's existence is built on public performance, is a truly private reconciliation even possible?
Yeah, that's the real question.
Or does every olive branch inevitably become a photo op? If you were raised in a world where your family name was a trademark, how would you ever know who to trust?
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.